I can be insanely grateful for the 3 kids, but then also feel like I have too many kids. My motherhood doesn't look like that.
No.
I'm very blessed, but I'm also like stressed out sometimes.
Yeah.
Address the connection that your mind draws between your behavior and shame. Once you separate yourself from being ashamed of any behavior, good or bad, you are free.
Welcome back to the BILF Pod, where authenticity trumps authority. My name is Mara Dorn, and I am the host of the BILF Pod. And if you haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, and obviously, come on, tell a friend. But today's guest is very, very special, really a jack of all trades. She's a pharmacist by trade, but her real passion is now content creation, which is super exciting. We have so many parallels, and she is right now unapologetically who she is. And you know what? I love that for her. So welcome to the show. I'm super, super excited to have you. Are you so excited?
I'm so excited to be here. I literally, when your team reached out, I was like, they want to talk to me?
Yes, Miss Karla,
What do
we
they
want to
wanna
talk to
me
you.
about?
Welcome, girl. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So we are going to dive in. I know that you are a pharmacist by trade, which is super cool, but we've already decided that we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
we're
that's
going to
boring.
talk about, well, we can talk a little bit about that. Just tell us a little bit about your background and where, you know, what school you came from and like what made you get into the pharmacy field. Or
Okay.
become a pharmacist, I should say.
So I went to Auburn University. That's where I met my husband. And I told my 10th grade chemistry teacher that I wanted to be a pharmacist. And she really, mentored me and all of that. I made the mistake of telling my mom, and she wouldn't let it go. Even when I tried to change, maybe I want to be a nurse or maybe I want to be an actuary. Like I just had all of these ideas in college, and my mom would always be like, no, you said you were going to be a pharmacist. So when I got through like my 4th year of undergrad, my boyfriend at the time still had another year. And it was going to be like, well, if I don't go to pharmacy school, my parents are going to make me go home because, they were paying for me to be in school. So if I'm not in school, I've got to go. And so I said, well, I'll just sign up for pharmacy school just so I can stay in Auburn another year. Problem is, pharmacy school was 4 years and my boyfriend was only there for 1.
Oh, no.
So long story short, we went long distance, made it work, and we're now married for 16 years. But at the time, it was just kind of a short-sighted way to get to stay at Auburn, which is, to me, the best school in the country, the most fun college campus that you could ever be on. And I just wanted to be there.
I can resonate. I have basically the same type of story. My mom wanted me to be a lawyer, and she would not let up on this.
Right.
Made me get my bachelor's degree in pre-law, and then I went on to get my master's degree in criminal justice and would not let this go.
Right.
So I did do that, but I didn't go to law school because, the economy, and I'll tell you that after. But same thing, like she was not letting this go.
Right. I bet to this day, she's probably like, Mara, are you sure you don't want to go back to law school?
No, she's like, there's still time for you. Who doesn't want a nice Jewish lawyer? Like
exactly.
No, she is happy she's definitely happy for me. So she is definitely happy for me. But so you did go on to become a pharmacist.
I went on to become a pharmacist, worked in a couple of different areas, but ended up with United Healthcare / Optum. I worked for hospice services for 9 years, which a lot of people hear that and think it's so sad. But it was honestly some of the best years of my life. It is such a privilege and an honor to be in the conversations around someone's transition. And I really took that job, to heart. It was not something that I felt heavy or dark around. I really felt a lot of joy in being able to contribute to peace and peaceful transitions for people. And then maybe about 2 years ago, I transferred to another same company. And now I'm in advocacy for the company. I work in population health, and I just advocate for the employees to help them manage, manage the system, navigate different processes so that my goal is to be able to say yes. Insurance companies like to say no. No, we can't do this. No, we can't do that. And when people talk to me, they know if there's anything I can do to get us to a yes, I'm going to do it.
America must love that you just said that right now because of all the controversy and everybody's opinions about what's going on, whether they're getting the subsidies and the customer service. And it is really a breath of fresh air to know that people are really advocating for consumers because you hear so many horror stories. But I love what you said, because when I think of hospice, that is like I don't even like to say the word, but you really just gave me another perspective of looking at it. Like, it is such a nice, you're there. That was really good.
Yeah.
Kudos
And it's
to you.
honestly one of those things. I mean, we could talk on and on and on about hospice, but it's a privilege to be able to have that conversation about hospice, because so many times, think about it, people just go. There was no warning. There was no opportunity to honor their wishes or consider what they would like or want in a situation. So to even be offered that opportunity, even though it is representing in some ways a sad process, it is honestly a good way to bring some joy.
That's nice.
In that area. So that is something that I kind of miss just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they sold the hospice division after I left, but I did love working in hospice, and now.
And then how did you end up here in Orlando?
So when my husband retired, we were in California, then Detroit. When my husband retired, he wanted to come back to Florida, and that was always kind of the goal. He's from Miami originally, but we didn't want to go to Miami. And at the time, I don't know if you remember, I don't know how long you've been here, AirTran had direct flights from here to Huntsville, which is where I'm from. So we wanted to be in Florida, and I thought, Orlando, I have an uncle here. They have direct flights.
Nice.
Let's move there. And so we moved here, and probably 6 months later, the airline pulled out.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, we just got direct flights back to Huntsville.
You can't drive there, though. The drive is long. It's long. It's long, but you can.
My parents are actually doing it next week.
Oh, there you go. What is it, like a 10-hour drive?
10 hours.
Yeah, see, I've done the drive.
Yeah.
So I do know the drive. Don't do it in the cold, though. That was really scary. I did it down the mountains. It was a little cold. It was a little icy.
My limit is probably 4 hours in the car.
Done.
If it's more than 4 hours, I got to fly.
And
if I can't fly, I'm not going.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
That's how it goes.
So now you come to Orlando. You're doing hospice. Then how do you transition over? At what point do you say, all right, I'm going to transition over and work for United Healthcare?
So that's all one big company.
Oh, okay.
You know, Optum, United Healthcare, United Healthcare owns Optum.
Yeah.
So it's all one big company, so to speak. But essentially, I started looking for another job. Even though I loved hospice, I had a director of operations that was honestly just, she had it out for me from the very beginning. And I told this story on my platform. I think it's called Never Underestimate a Black Woman with Receipts.
I'm dead. That is hilarious.
I had a whole series about it. But in short, I was hired sight unseen by this company. This is before COVID and before interviews were virtual and all that. Anyway, It was a phone interview with this company. And I got the job, but they were based out of Ohio.
Okay.
So they brought us up for training. And when I walked in the room, it's like they were surprised.
Mouths dropped.
And it was snowing. It was like 4 counterparts at the time. And they had us sharing a rental car. And I was much younger. Like, I wasn't the boss that I am now. I'm just like happy to be here, like, you know, not really reading the room. And we're sharing this rental car. But based on my life experiences, my parents always told me, do not get behind the wheel of a rental that is not yours. If your name is not on that rental car, you are not to drive it. And that's just what I grew up
Same here.
knowing and believing. And so we had this one rental car. It was in my counterpart's name, but they wanted me to drive it somewhere. And so
it sounds sketchy already.
Exactly. So I'm talking to the logistics person who has arranged this, and I'm letting her know, like, hey, what are we going to do about this rental car? Because I don't have a car. It was probably, 12 years ago. So before rideshare was what it is now.
Right.
The story almost sounds insane now because
now I'm like really interested. So now
you would Lyft. That wasn't like the everyday.
So they're forcing you to drive this car.
So they were trying to force me to drive this car. I said no. And then from there, she had it out for me. She did some of the most insane things. Like, she would email me.
So is this a white lady that's doing this to you?
Yes. Yes.
No, just say it like it is. Say, don't hold back. So
I call her a cat lady, like just an old, miserable, well, she's not old, but just a miserable person that would just, she would send me emails that would give me anxiety because there would be no greeting, like, you know, not a good morning or a hello. It would just be, you know? And then when I would ask her questions, she would be very, curt. And, I was just like, okay. And it's so funny because when I would do my performance evaluations with my boss, I would discuss like my communication with her, and I would really take ownership of it and say, okay, next year my goal is to communicate with her
Right.
better or to communicate with her more. I thought that communication was going to solve the conflict, and it just essentially made it worse. And everything came to a head Thanksgiving one year, and there was a scheduling mix-up that was not my fault. Long story, but scheduling mix-up. She ends up calling me and laying into me, telling me I'm the worst pharmacist on the team, that other pharmacists run circles around me, which completely took me off guard because I had just done a performance review and I was among the best. And so I'm talking to my boss and letting him know like how this made me feel, because culturally, that's a thing. We're always told we have to be better. We have to be among the best. So for her to tell me that, I think I took that a lot harder than maybe other people would. And I wanted to understand it. Like, what are her grounds for saying this to me?
What's going on?
And I never got any answers. It came to a head maybe like a year after that, because I actually took her to HR. And, you know, HR was very diplomatic. They didn't tell me what they said or what they did, but that they had fixed it. And there was a company-wide meeting, and I was not invited.
Wow.
She did all the invites, and I'm like emailing like, hey, my team has invites and I don't, like, what's going on? No response. And that was kind of,
that was it for you.
I kind of, sort of. I mean, I stayed until I had something else lined up, but I was definitely looking internally within the company to make sure that I could get away from, you know, the toxic environment and just have a fresh start. And it's just a shame though, because I really did love what I did.
And this one woman pushed you out. Yeah. And you know what they say.
I think personally that I was good at it. You know, really just made a lot of connections with a lot of people.
That's so sad.
And
people quit the leader before they quit the team all the time.
They do.
So then you ended up going into another section of the company.
Which is perfect for my skill set.
Perfect.
You know, like advocacy and population health. That's something that translates well into my overall thinking patterns. And so, you know, you go places.
So everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. And you know, you go places and people act like what you want is coming out of their paycheck.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way at work sometimes. So I'm like, you know, if you need something and it's covered under your benefit, like what are we talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I approach work. And I think that's how I got the job, honestly, because I told them that I come from a place of yes. I don't like to hear the word no.
That is not a word that resonates.
I don't want to tell anybody no. Now, that's not to say that everybody gets what they want. It's not Burger King.
Right, but you're going to accommodate as best as you possibly can.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what we can do.
Right.
You know, like we may not can do what you want, but here are some other options, or here are some ways that around this, or here are some things that we can try in order to get what we need. So I think even though I don't always get the desired outcome out of any given situation, no one can say I didn't work my hardest.
It seems like you give your heart and soul to everything you do. So
really
now
do.
You're happy doing this.
Yes.
But you also juggle being a mom of 3 children. So let's talk about your kids, and then we'll go into the content creation and what you're doing now. So let's talk about your kids real quick.
I honestly started my platform wanting to be honest about the ministry of motherhood. It's just such a toxically positive space. Like you go on Instagram and you see all of these like curated pictures and perfect feeds, and you're like, you know, my motherhood doesn't look like that.
No.
And that's okay. You know, there's a saying kind of in the community, like too blessed to be stressed. But I'm both. Like I'm very blessed, but I'm also like stressed out sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
And I want to be able to openly say that without the, oh, there's people that would love to be in your position. And, oh, you really shouldn't feel that way because there's, you know, other things going on. And it's like, well, I can walk and chew gum. Like I can be insanely grateful for the 3 kids, but then also feel like I have too many kids.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also have 3 kids, and I feel like the way I describe my life is like I'm in a boat that has holes constantly.
Yes.
And I'm trying to plug one hole because when my personal life is doing good, my business life is falling. When my business life is doing, I'm getting calls from the teacher that my kid is saying inappropriate things and doing weird stuff at school. So I feel like that's how I'm always trying to plug one hole, and then the other one is just dropping.
Yeah, you just never can get everything perfectly balanced. And then if you ever do, it's such an anxious period because you're waiting for that next thing to just
I don't know
fall
about
apart.
that. I don't use the word balance. I like prioritize. It's like work-life priority, whatever is working at the moment, just because I feel like, I don't know if you feel like this, I feel like I'm just winging it most of the time. Right? My grandma always said children don't come with a set of directions, and neither does life. So I'm like constantly winging it. I'm like the mom that's rolling up to the school, like, papers coming out of the bag, trying to get in there to take the picture.
Yes.
I never know what's going on. Like how the kid is supposed to be dressed. I once sent my kid to we had like a religious function, and it was pajama night. And of course I send my kid all dressed up. The rest of the kids are in the pajamas.
I know.
It's like story of my life.
That's definitely me. I feel like, with the kids, it's always somebody needing you and needing your attention, and just trying to be what each kid needs at any given time has me on a swivel. I'm one of 3. And I always told my mom, I just feel like there's one too many of us. Like back seats aren't set up for 3 people. Airplane rides aren't set up for 3 people.
There's always a kid left out.
Cruises, like everything gets more complicated when you have that 5th person.
Yes, it's 100% true.
And so I wouldn't trade it, for the world. But I think there's just this lack of reality around what it is to have 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's just.
And then the age differentiation, like our kids are pretty widely spread out.
What were we thinking?
I don't know. I really thought I was going to go for number 3 and like this was going to be great, except I had my last one. My 2 were in my 20s and my 3rd was in my 30s.
Same.
I don't know what I was thinking because my patience level is non-existent at this point.
That's funny because my oldest says that my youngest gets like the best version of me, like the most gentle version of me.
I'm definitely more lenient and gentle, and I'll let anything go. Like this kid eats and does whatever he wants. As far like the other ones, I just look at them, like give them one of those. They're like this. My other one, the littlest one's like, why are you staring at me like that? Like, what are you looking? I'm like, who says this to their mom?
Yeah, I think my daughter is like stricter than me. Like
my oldest one is.
She'll get my toddler by the hand and she'll say, "No, we're not doing this."
Yeah, that my daughter
she'll like
does
stomp
too.
off with him, and I'm like, "Okay, girl."
My daughter too. Yours is the old. Yeah, mine's the oldest.
My daughter's the oldest.
And then you have
2 boys.
Me too.
Okay.
My 2 little ones are boys, and my daughter the same thing. She doesn't tolerate any of it.
Yeah.
And she will take the little one and be like, "No, we're not doing this.
Exactly.
Nope, get in your room." And he's scared of her, so he just kind of freezes up.
My oldest and my youngest are best friends, and they're twins. Like if you see them, they look just alike, just a boy-girl version of each other. And she doesn't play with him in terms of when she wants him to stop doing something, or if he's starting to melt down, she'll get him back. But they always play together too.
Yeah,
like that's
mine.
her baby.
And then the 2 middle ones fight.
Yes.
Constantly.
They're
constantly fighting with each other.
Now, I thought the age gap was going to eliminate some of that.
No.
I thought, oh, well, they're 8 years apart. Like,
no.
What could they fight about?
They're fighting.
Everything.
Literally running around the house fighting. The big one is calling the little one names. The little one's calling the big one names. It is a literal shit show in my house 24/7.
Yes. I think the middle child is always chaos, though.
Yeah, my middle one, he's the sweetest. He's definitely the sweetest. He is the sweetest one, but he is definitely causing the little one to act up a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like he's egging it on. He's laughing. Like my kid sold a Pokemon card at school, a fake one for $75. And my middle one thought it was the best thing ever.
What school is this where the kids had $75?
That's what I said. That's exactly my reaction. I'm like, what kid walks around with $75? He must have stole it from the parents.
Right.
So I had to call the teacher.
I have questions about that.
Well, listen, me too. And then my kid, so my middle one thought it was the greatest thing ever. He's like, Levi's a genius. I'm like, he's a thief. He's not a genius. He's a thief.
That's funny because I say my youngest is a diabolical genius. Like,
yeah, my little one is. He's very smart.
Insane.
Yeah, and knows everything. It's because they emulate the big ones. Do you let your kid watch YouTube?
YouTube Kids.
I do too, but I have no control over that either because the YouTube Kids is out of control.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I know. I'm telling the big ones didn't have this stuff.
Yeah.
The little one I let do everything, and he is at it, but he is running us ragged.
Like they did talk me out of Roblox. Like I've gotten
I do
so
the
many
Roblox.
people that have said no Roblox. Make sure he's not on Roblox.
I do let the roadblocks, but now I'm like paranoid. Although he
Mhm.
only talks to his 2 friends on there.
Yeah.
I don't think he has any more friends than that. So for now, we're good.
And he's 7. He's a little bit older.
Yeah,
My
and he
youngest
knows,
is 4.
and he knows not to talk to anybody. Well, hopefully,
Mhm.
who knows? They know all kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
So now so let's talk about your content creation. So where did
Okay.
this come from? Like where you decided this is going to be your platform?
It just came from wanting a space where I could be honest about my experiences. You know, I have friends and family, and I have a sister, and I have a lot of support, but I felt like at the time that my support wasn't allowing me to be truthful about what I need. And I felt like, especially when you come from a place of privilege, it's almost like your pain doesn't resonate the same.
Yes.
Like they don't connect with
Or they'll
you.
be like, you don't understand.
Yeah, you don't understand.
I do understand.
Mm-hmm. Or, you know, my mom will say all the time, like, well, I'd pay to have the problems that you have. Or, you know, it's almost like it just isn't as valid because, you know, you have so much. Or, you know, we'll pay someone. Like, pay someone to do it. Like, why don't you, you know? And I'm like, well, sometimes I just want my mom to come. Like, yeah, I could definitely pay someone to come and hold my hand during this thing. But like, could you come?
Yeah, and then my mom's like, 3 kids. I don't know. My mom's usually busy.
My mom, she's the best grandma, but she's not going to. The difference between my mom and my mother-in-law is that when my mother-in-law comes, she tries to be me. Like she notices the things that I do. If I always have a bow on my daughter, when my mother-in-law comes, my daughter has a bow on.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. I don't have like a monster mother-in-law situation. My mom comes and she like, it's chaotic, you know? It's like complete disregard. Like, well, your mom doesn't let you eat ice cream, but you want ice cream.
My mom does it too.
Yeah.
My mom's a good grandma, but the same thing. There's no rules with my mom. There's no rules. And she thinks like the bad words are funny. So like I'll come, yes, I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it. I definitely get it.
So that was originally the space, was to connect with people on authentic motherhood. And one thing or one common theme that we found was that people really link shame to behaviors.
Right.
And so they're not able to be authentic online because they're afraid that if they admit their mistakes, then people will see them as bad people.
Or be canceled. Yeah. Or get canceled. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, we say bad people do bad things and good people do good things, but honestly, it goes both. Like sometimes good people do bad things.
Yeah.
And when you know that that doesn't make you a bad person because you made a bad choice, then you have no problem telling people, like, I have nothing, no mistake that I've made reflects on me as a person.
Yeah.
It's just like where I was at the time. I made the best decision with the information I had. And in hindsight, a little questionable.
Okay, but who cares? I love
cares?
that. And part of your content is being unapologetically you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk, because some people are, you know, we throw around the word authenticity all the time.
Yes.
And I think we use that as a shell for this authentic person we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I don't know about you, I don't think that I think I suffered a lot from imposter syndrome for a really long time.
Okay.
And then I think finally when I got older, seasoned,
Mm-hmm.
then I finally was like, okay, I've had enough life mistakes. I've had enough life experience that I really finally feel I'm at a place that I am unapologetically me. That doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes.
Right.
That doesn't mean that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm comfortable in my own skin. That's what it means. Like, you know, I'm not ashamed. I used to be ashamed, like we were talking about, you know, having money and saying something like,
mm-hmm.
I'm not ashamed that I have a cleaning woman.
Yeah.
I worked really hard. It wasn't like I was just, you know, I worked really hard to be able to afford such a luxury in life.
Mm-hmm.
Or being ashamed of, you know, having a nice luxury car. I don't feel like I should be ashamed of that. I worked really, really hard.
Exactly. And also, it's interesting that you bring up imposter syndrome because I was thinking about it today. I don't know if this resonates with you, but I think imposter syndrome in some ways comes from the fear of people seeing what you're actually doing. So for example, take a duck. You know, when you see a duck on the water, it's like gliding smoothly across the surface. But if you ever had a camera to go underneath, they're like fighting for their life.
Yeah. They're like paddling.
And
really.
so when you're like floating merrily down the stream, you feel like an imposter because everybody's waving at you like, oh, you're so pretty. You're so sweet. Everything is going so perfect for you. But like underneath you're like,
Yeah, meanwhile, you're spiraling inside.
Yes. And so then you have this fear that, oh my God, people are going to realize that I'm not actually floating. I'm actually working my tail off and things are not as great on underneath as they are on the surface. And then you realize, wait a minute, everybody's swimming the same way. Like everybody's feet are moving 2 times faster than their bodies.
Yes, and we're all trying to figure it out.
Everybody is trying to figure it out. So if you just be open about that, then I feel like, what are you pretending? You know what I mean? The imposter in me was that I was trying to make everything look easy.
Yes.
And now I'm like, oh no, that was actually really, really hard. Do not recommend, 0 stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you were telling me before that a lot of this content too came from your kids and going to school. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So in Orlando in general, there's this big private school, public school, thing. A lot of private schools, a lot of public schools. But for my kids being neurodivergent, there have been a lot of studies that show that if your children need specialized education, public school done right is the best place for them to be. That's the place where they can have the protections like a 504 or an IEP.
Right.
Private schools don't have to offer that. And so in some ways, I'm trying to get something for them that money can't really buy, which is access to education. So then when you think about it, okay, well, how much should that cost? Is it my property taxes? Is it, my income taxes? Like what else do I need to pay to be able to send my kids to school and have the support and resources that they need? And for me, my experience with the school system is that it's just everything is a fight. You have to be willing to go in there and fight every little thing.
An advocate.
Advocate, yes. And for me, I think I'm the biggest gaslighter of myself. Like, oh, am I doing too much? Oh, well, if I go up there, they're going to think I'm crazy.
Then
or they're
going to take it out on my children.
They're going to take it out on my children or whatever. But I had an incident not too long ago where I had to roll up to the school. I had on my pajamas. Like, I did take my hair out of my little wrap because I was like, well, if I'm going to be on the news, I can't look too crazy. But essentially, there was a security guard that body checked my daughter. Like, and I was there. Like, I was watching. She got out of the car. She walked up to the building. And he felt like she shouldn't go into the door that she was trying to go into because she exited the vehicle on the wrong side of the car. So when he told her that, she was like, well, that's not my problem, which, like, it's not.
Yeah, I'm like, why does this even matter?
I dropped her off. She was going to be late. The deans were calling and saying, hey, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So she literally takes off running and he steps in front of her. And so I'm sitting there like, wait, because I'm cheering for her from the car. Like, I want her to make it. If you know the struggles that we have with being on time for school.
This is a problem all the time.
I'm like, listen, I'm rooting for you because there are consequences in my house for being late for school. And I want her to make it. And so I'm like, what is she doing? Why is she talking to him? And I see them and I see the exchange. And then she tries to go around him and he bumps her and yells at her to go into the building. So she walks down and by then I'm pulling in to the parking spot and I'm like, excuse me, what is going on? So I have to go inside and I'm telling them hey, I need to speak to an administrator immediately. And they're giving me well, we don't know if anyone's available. Do you have an appointment? No, I don't.
I want to talk to the
But we can also call the police. What do we need to do? So they have to, find someone to talk to me. I sit there for 30 minutes and then I call the district office. So I'm sitting in the office calling the district office hey, I just witnessed aggression and hostility from a faculty or staff member. I'm trying to speak to someone at the school, but I'm not sure. And she's like, well, have you let them know that you're there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting right here. She says everyone is busy, but I can't imagine what would be more important than a student's safety. 30 seconds later, we got people down here. Ooh. We've got people down here. Now we can talk. Now we can look at the camera. And it's funny, because I don't think they thought that everything I said was going to be reflected on
Yeah.
the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then they try to cover it up. I have a really crazy story that happened to me too.
Mhm.
I'll tell you about it after. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you always feel like as a parent, you're right. Am I doing too much?
Mhm.
Is it going to be taken out on my kid?
Mhm.
Because I'm sure they do. I'm
yes,
sure they take it out.
absolutely.
My kid was publicly shamed in school about, well, I mean, it was kind of my fault. I went a little crazy when the wrestling thing went on and I really lost it. I didn't like it. So the coach showed the film and was like, well, if you don't want your mom to go crazy again, this is the technique you had to use. It was like funny, but then I was like,
Right.
why would he do that? You know, it wasn't
See,
his
I don't
fault. I
like
went a little
that.
crazy.
I do not like humiliation as a teaching point.
No, I don't think
Like, I don't think that that's okay.
No, I don't think it was. It was like, thank goodness my son has like, he's okay with that. But when he came home and told me, I'm like, how embarrassing. And I was acting like a real nut that day.
Mhm.
I was losing it, seeing my kid, he's on the ground. It's
Right.
wrestling, granted it's wrestling.
Mhm.
And I'm losing it. I'm like screaming, get off my kid. You know, the parents right there. I'm like, get off my kid. He's in a
Yes.
headlock. I'm losing it. And they use the film.
I'm definitely that sports mom too. Like my middle son plays sports and I say at every game, I'm not cut out for this.
No, I
I'm
can't
not
do
cut
it.
out
I'm
to
a
be
nut
sports
job.
mom. Like, yes, I'm a nut job as well.
I cannot watch the game. I'm not going back to the wrestling tournaments ever again. I'm not going. It's too much. It's too brutal. I think it's barbaric. I don't want my kid to wrestle.
But he's passionate about it.
He likes it. Now the coach is like, oh, you're doing really well. And I see a future in it. So I'm like, oh, Liam, can't we just do golf instead? Like, no, wrestling, please. We already did the football thing. That was a little scary when he got tackled. I can't watch it.
It's very rough. And that's one of the things that I've just had to release and relinquish as something that is above me. I do think it's in my sons, both of them. Even my 4-year-old, I see it in him too. It's in them that's what they love.
Well, they come from a sports background, right?
Exactly.
Your husband is an ex-NFL player. So he must be like, oh yeah, they're playing.
This year, he's letting him take the year off.
Oh.
He said, so he'll be going into the 8th grade. And so this is our first season where we're not playing multiple sports. And he said, I really want him to just grow and develop outside of sports.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm supportive of that. Honestly, I'm thrilled. Couldn't be happier.
Now you don't have to drive around because that's really bad. When you're driving one kid here, one kid there, that is the worst.
And that's why I feel like the third kind of gets in where they fit in because, you always have things for the other two going on.
And it's too much for the little one. This happens with me all the time. Now I have the little one. Just on a Saturday, he does a little golf thing. I don't even know if he really wants to play golf, but we did something just to get it in.
Just to get him out of the house.
He has golf and tutoring. I think that's a lot in a week.
It is.
That's a lot going on. We can't do any more than that. So now where are you taking your content creation?
I don't know. That was the thing. So when you guys reached out for me to come here, I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I don't really have a commodity because I'm just offering me. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
My perspective, which I do think is unique, and I do think that it speaks to a lot of people. I've built a really strong community, but I don't know. I think the possibilities are endless. I do it because I love it, not necessarily as an income stream. But as you know, anytime you work with someone and they are giving you their time and their energy and their resources, then obviously you should pay them for that.
Yes.
And so that's kind of where I am with it. It's still in the lane of a hobby, but it's also something that if I'm passionate about it and we're working together, then it becomes a part of a business.
I think you can do a podcast.
I
think you would get a lot. I do. I think you get a lot of viewers. People like to hear about mom life all the time.
Yeah.
And how you're juggling, being a boss, being a mom, because you also work full time.
Right.
So now you're a mom, you're a boss, and you're a wife. Do you cook also?
I cook.
Yeah, I cook too. Nobody can believe that I cook, but I do. No, I do. I cook also. No. It's crazy. And then, I'm trying to juggle everything in between. I think that'd be a great podcast for you.
Don't you feel like the space is so saturated though?
I don't know. I think if you come in with an angle that's different, then I think that you can definitely do it. I think anything's possible. You just got to keep going with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think
How did you get into podcasting?
How did mine was just out of nowhere, really. I had a friend, like how my whole thing started. I've been in the insurance space for 17 years and a good friend of mine, Leandro, who's actually over there, he came to me 2 years ago and he said to me, listen, he goes, I think that people really want to hear your story.
Okay.
There's not a lot of women in your space that are real, like that have really built this time 7-figure business,
Mm-hmm.
and your mom, and a wife. And I think a lot of people in this public speaking space are not able to really resonate because there's something missing. I think you do really well with this. Let me brand you. I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
So
well, if Leandro wants to come and take me under his wing, then that's something that I can think about. But it is interesting that you talk about public speaking and, things like that. I've thought about going into that as well. There's a big conference here. It was here last year. Next year it's in Texas. It's called Momfrance. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not.
Okay. So they bring together mom influencers from all over the country, and they have panels. You'd be really great on a panel there. And they just talk about the business side of things and networking, and then also avoiding like burnout, because that's something that we also have to safeguard ourselves against. When you have so many businesses and so many projects, it's like, how are you protecting you?
I think that once you have a passion for something you love, you fit it in. So like for me with the podcasting, I have offices all over. So whenever I travel, I throw in a podcast. I'm going to New York, I'm going to throw in a podcast. And you can do it back to back. You can find time. Just think about it this way. Anything you want to do, you'll find time for.
Yeah. Especially if you have the infrastructure to build up around
which
it.
You can absolutely
and the systems, where, people are handling the back ends for you so that you can really just come and focus on engaging
what you do
with people. Yes.
And that's what happened for me. I had a great team behind me that really pushed me to write a book. From the book, I had, a girlfriend that was like super creative and came up with the BILF name. And then she was like, you should do a podcast. I'm like, what would my podcast be on? She's like, other BILFs. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, it could be any type of boss. And that's kind of how it, one thing went to another. And my hope is, first of all, if you have a brand behind you, whatever that looks like, you're building recognition. So whatever you choose to do, if you want to be, I don't know, if you want to open up a mom and pop pharmacy, you'll have a name behind you. So you can always use that. For right now, have fun with it.
Exactly.
Like what
it's
you're
still
doing.
in the fun stage, but you learn something every day. You meet people everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Social media has brought so many people together.
There's a bigger reach.
So many ideas have come together on social media. So many people have inspired me. I've heard like Patreon, and then you do YouTube as well, right?
I do.
So we'll see. The sky's the limit. This might be something that I look back on and say, it all started here on BILF,
You never know. All right, we're going to have some fun and we're going to do some rapid fire questions for you. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question and then you'll just kind of answer it. Okay. All right. Here, it's real or cap. I'm going to throw out a few statements about pharmacies, vaccines, and health, and then you're going to tell me if it's real or cap. All right.
Okay.
Pharmacists are just there to count pills and fill prescriptions.
Cap.
Why?
I mean, so the technicians count the pills, but there's just so many things. Automation has taken away the counting and the filling of prescriptions for the most part. So the pharmacist is really the brains behind all of the things that happen as it relates to how many doctors you're seeing, how many prescriptions you're taking. They're just looking for so many different things to help keep you safe.
Love it. All right. Natural immunity is always better than vaccine immunity. That's a very controversial topic.
Cap. Because natural immunity can come with consequences. Look at polio. You get polio, yes, you're immune to ever getting it again, but you could be crippled.
Yeah.
So there are so many situations in which natural immunity can kill you. Measles is one of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost insane to advocate for natural immunity against so many different things.
Agreed. Yes. So obviously vaccinate your children. Yeah. So do I. All right. Big Pharma controls what doctors and pharmacists recommend.
Cap.
Okay. Next one. Antibiotics work for viral infections like colds and flu.
Cap.
Generic medications are less effective than brand name drugs.
Cap. But I will say that everyone is different. And there can be a variability in response to a brand versus a generic. So I don't want anyone to ever discount their experiences where they say, I took the brand and I had this experience and I took the generic and it didn't work as well. That is totally within the realm of possibilities because everyone is different.
Yeah. So you can buy like over the counter, like, Publix ibuprofen. That's okay.
I do.
See that? Yeah, me too. All right. So I'm not crazy. Okay. You should stop taking antibiotics once you feel better.
Cap.
All vaccines contain harmful toxins and heavy metals that cause more harm than good.
Cap.
And last question, if a supplement is natural, it's automatically safe.
Cap.
There you go. There you go. Look, you, a woman with brains.
So smart.
So, okay. So now you said you don't know, but what's your big vision for yourself?
My big vision for myself.
Or your like internal dream or something that you manifest.
My big vision for myself is to build a community of women that are unapologetically high maintenance.
I love that.
That will walk into any room and expect the best because they deserve it. And they don't mind holding people accountable for what they deserve. You ever have that friend that goes to a restaurant and they always complain? Like, they get the food. That's how I started.
My mom.
That's how this all started. No one wanted to go out to eat with me because they're like, Karla, this is P.F. Chang's. Like, this, who cares if you didn't get, they didn't take the rice sticks off. It's fine. And it started like that. But now I'm like, no, when I go somewhere and I order something, I do expect it to be how it's supposed to be.
Especially if you're paying for it.
Especially if I'm paying for it. So it's not rude of me, and I'm not going to let anyone frame me as rude for just pointing it out that this was not what I asked for, know?
I'm not rude.
No. That's a word that they throw out there for us to be fearful.
Yeah.
So we're scared to be called rude.
Yes.
Because they might call us rude.
Agreed.
It might be considered rude. Who cares?
But let me ask you a question. If a man does that, would that be considered rude?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Assertive,
Yes.
They're assertive. We're aggressive.
Yeah, they know what they want.
So many things though, and this is what I do love, is that so many things I don't even entertain because I know that my husband is going to have an easier time doing it, and I'm not going to bark up that, that road. Like, I'm not taking my car to the car wash because I know, which car wash to pick. There's too many options. There's too many things going on. Figure that part out.
So that he has to do, I do think, even though I am into the woman movement and, I do still believe in gender roles.
Yeah.
And not gender roles where like, I should be slaving in the kitchen. But I do think that there are certain roles. Like, I'm the mom. I'm still the mom. I'm the woman of the house. I do not take out the trash. No. I don't do it. I've had to do it like twice and it was awful experience. I thought a frog was going to jump on me. But I'm just not doing it. I'm not taking the trash.
Absolutely not.
No.
And then you have boys too.
Yeah, they can do it. They can
if your dad's not here, come on.
Yeah.
There's someone that can do that. I do believe in gender roles. I do believe that at the heart of a family, someone has to be that nurturing side.
I agree.
Obviously, if the mother is not there and the dad has to do that.
For sure.
Then, that's one thing. But in my household, like, I'm the nurturer. Like, they're going to come to me for like that warmth and that connection. And he's okay with that.
My husband, I take care of all the school stuff as best as I can, but anything like the teacher's gifts and the newsletter and, all of that stuff, that all lies on me, the doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, but I'm okay with that because I feel like that is my role as a wife, and I work with my husband. So at some point there has to be a separation and I need to be a wife and a mom.
Well, I do all that too, but I charge my husband.
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
I do it. It does cost
I love that.
for me to do all of those things.
I love that. I should just Venmo request at the end of the month. Be like, this is, we equally had a child together. So here we go. I actually really like that. I love this. You have to give me some more tips and and tricks.
And when you charge them, they honestly start to do things a little different. So like if I'm charging my husband for something, he will second guess, does he actually need to do it? So for example, golf. He golfs as a hobby, but he picks up my 4-year-old from school. So if his golf game runs long and I have to pick him up, I'm going to have to charge you for that.
Yep.
So now he pretty much tries to make sure golf does not run long.
So now the golf game wasn't, because you had to teach them, it's like having a fourth kid.
Yes. There's a value attached to everything that I do. Everything. And so sometimes you got to up the price a little bit.
I love it. So if you had to give one piece of advice to a woman that is, just kind of feeling that imposter syndrome, just really wants to, just kind of feeling a certain way right now, what advice would you give to that mom, to that woman, just somebody that wants to go to the next step, be everything, juggle everything, and be unapologetically her?
My biggest piece of advice would be to address the connection that your mind draws between your behavior and shame. Once you separate yourself from being ashamed of any behavior, good or bad, you are free.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And if people want to find you, where would they find you?
So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Threads. All of my platforms, Facebook, 3 Little Lee. I also have a blog, 3littlelee.com. I post on there usually about once or twice a month. And I don't know.
That's great. No, that is so great. And for your first
Mm-hmm.
time being on podcast, you did amazing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I put your business out there, but you did amazing. So here it is. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends. We go over this every single week. But more importantly, I think Karla really did a great job of explaining how she juggles, how she's a mom, how she's an advocate. And my favorite part about all of this is how she is unapologetically herself. So I have a challenge for you guys. Think about something that you want to be unapologetic about. Maybe it's going to a restaurant and ordering and complaining if something is not right, or not complaining, correcting if something is not right. Or perhaps, anything that you can think of. Go ahead, write in. We'll display it on the BILF Pod. But until next time, this has been an amazing conversation, girl. Thank you for coming by. I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.